This will be part 2 of the 1959 General Electric black and white, let's see, M5 chassis. Sam's is dated 11 of 59. This set has the sexy legs on the bottom of it. This is, I don't know, this is kind of an early tabletop. This is when they were kind of transitioning from the wood box style to the portable style. And part 1, we got the raster up and running by reforming a lot of capacitors. It took quite a bit of time. This thing's in pretty bad shape, so I'm trying to do the absolute minimum to get it to work. Resurrection, just bring it back from the dead and then kill it, I guess. I don't know. CRT tested okay. Got the high voltage up. No activity from the tuner or IF section. So like I said, I went and I photocopied all the schematics. This is what I do. I'm trying to keep an absolute pristine Sam's set. It takes up an incredible amount of space, but having reference material and schematics is something extremely valuable when you're working on old gems like this. This is about the cleanest set I think I've ever seen, and gonna try and not get it dirty and soil it. So let's get it powered back up. Now at the end of the last part, the high voltage came up real slow, and I mentioned that that was probably due to that orange capacitor right there, that big round electrolytic reforming, because that's in the boost circuit. And that is absolutely correct. We usually think of boost filters as little tiny capacitors. Well, in GE, they're not little tiny capacitors, and if that sucker right there is leaky or shorted, it will kill the high voltage. So also, we talked about cathode current. This says 120 milliamps. I have our official test meter here. It says 90 milliamps, typical. So this is kind of cool. This'll do a lot of your on the 8-pin stuff, the cathode current. Alright, let's see what happens. I'm not going to reform today. Just kind of keep an eye on this guy and see what happens. Cathode current is very important on an old TV like this on the horizontal output. You should always be aware of what it is. This tube might be weak. Give it a minute to warm up. Looks like, yes, that tube probably is weak. I think we're going to get our B&K 1077 out on this. Well, this is interesting. With the damper tube out, we still have the same cathode current, and we have the same image on the screen. That would almost suggest that that boost filter is leaking, because see, the voltage is supposed to come in through the damper into the flyback. Well, it's bypassing and coming up through this 40 microfarad. Try a different damper and see what happens. Oh, Okay, so we had a bad damper tube. But yeah, we definitely have a bad electrolytic too. But also at the same time, we're trying to run the voltage backwards through the electrolytic with the damper unplugged. Okay, here's a shorting damper. You probably can't see the sparks in it. It's working now, but yeah, it's arcing inside. That tube is arcing inside. Okay, nothing but the best. So let's see, IF, RF attenuation, we'll turn that all the way up. Video, color, we don't need color. Oh, I hear something there. Oh, we have something. Let's see, where is horizontal hold? That is this. There we go. And vertical hold. Very weak. I would think. This is a joke compared to the VG91, the more modern one of these I have that I use all the time. But the thing is I don't want to risk frying that new surface mount component computerized generator on this TV. This, I don't think we're going to fry this. I don't know what there is in here to fry. But I don't think we're going to fry this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this can off and I'm going to start to work my way that way through the IF. I'm going to work on the back side of the first and the back side of the second and just work my way and see if I can find where the gain is being lost. Alright, here's our IF stage. So it comes in right here from the tuner. And I think if we just go to pin 1 on the tubes, that should be it. Yeah, pin 1, pin 1, pin 1. Okay, if I go into pin 1 of the first IF, I get a very light image. Let's go into pin 1 of the second. If I go into pin 1 of the third, it's almost just as strong. Doing some DC voltage checks here on these IF tubes. And on pin 5 I have 21 volts, 21.87. And on 6 I have 21.87. That is a little on the low side. Should have 135 and 135. I think that voltage comes out of the audio output tube. Maybe that 100 microfarad has gone Clinky Dinkler McShorty Boimler and is sucking that voltage off the ground. That would sure make that tube hot, which I believe it was, actually, now that I think about it, thinking back to the thermal imaging video in the first video. So that is this tube right here. Let's see. Let me check that. Okay, well, upon further inspection, I checked the voltage here. So scratch what I said before. Let's start on the third video IF. That comes from the 135 volt source up here. Okay, so start with the third video IF. Alright, on the third video IF, we have the inability to make contact with the appropriate terminal. Okay, so we have 108 volts on the third IF. Now if we go to the second, we have 269 on 5 and 269 on 6. So it looks like our 135 volt source is there. It might be a little low, so ignore what I said about this. But we have over 200 volts here. So the power for this tube, the power for the plate of this tube, comes off of this tube right here. So why do we not have 135 volts coming out of this tube? Is the tube bad? We only have 21 volts coming out of this tube. And really, it's coming out of the cathode. Okay, so on pin 7, we have 22 volts. On pin 6, we have 269, so regardless of, we can do the math and tell that's not even close. So is this tube not conducting? And this tube is cool to the touch. It's not even warm. So I found a 6HZ6. A little bit different from a 6BZ6. Sure haven't heard it start screaming with static yet. See what our voltage is. Oh wow, 110 volts. So what do we have up here on our plate? 109 volts. So a little bit better. It's a little bit better than 20 volts. Still nobody home. There's some noise there. I would say the gain's a little bit better. It's picking it up from just here now. You just have to get it near the thing. Yeah, look at that. Wow, what a difference. Bad tube. That's kind of the long road to diagnosing a bad tube, I guess you could say, but at least we were able to pinpoint the bad tube based on voltages. So if you were working on one of these and you didn't have a tube tester, well, there you go. I mean, you can shotgun test all the tubes, or you can do what I did and diagnose it down to the tube is not conducting because there's no voltage coming out of the cathode. So now, curious to know why our tuner is dead. It's warm. It's warm. Why does it have a spot for UHF there? It's nothing. I got that put back on. Now you would almost assume by listening to this and looking at it that it had silver mica disease. Well, it doesn't have silver mica. TVs generally don't have silver mica capacitors. I don't know, maybe it is working. I don't know, seems like it's probably feeding a signal into it. Going into channel 4. Pretty poor performance. Try 6. Pretty crappy. Guess I could spray this. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the cathode current meter since I haven't seen any malfunction that would indicate high cathode current. Not that a capacitor can't short, but if we're watching it, we'll probably know. And yeah, that's a 6 BQ6. 6DQ6 is the bigger one, but they're kind of interchangeable for temporary testing use. This is the 6BZ6. BZ6 D7D1. D7D1. Just nothing. I wonder if the filament is bad in this thing. Let me juice it. Yeah, this thing is just stone dead. I have a feeling... I'm surprised we didn't see this in the first video on the thermal imaging. I was looking for hot things. I wasn't looking for an overview. Anyway, I was looking at the one of the vintage TV forum group deals, and this guy was complaining because they took down his post for, I guess there was someone posted something about politics. And you know, that's a common thread with all of these forums and groups and pages, is no politics. And I mean, I guess I understand the reason for that, but I don't have a problem with it, and I'm good with it as long as, you know, political discussion, religious discussion. I'm good with discussion of those topics so long as there's no low IQ name calling or cursing. I heard that one arc when I plugged it in, and we could see that one getting hot. So yeah, I know some people are bothered by the politics, and that's okay. There's plenty of safe spaces, those groups, like every group and every forum is a safe space for no politics. Well, I don't want a safe space for no politics or religious discussion, you know. I really don't care. I would rather know what's going on and see other people's opinions than I would squelch that type of conversation, even though this is a vintage electronics tech channel. Anyway, I kind of got off topic there. So yeah, the 6BZ6 had an open filament. CY5. This is the RF amp tube out of the tuner. Kind of. Everyone's so damn offended by every little thing these days. It's just like totally ridiculous. Guess everybody thinks they're special or something. D6, D1, and D9. This is a 6CL8. 6CL8 mixer oscillator tube. Oh yeah, I gotta take out pin number 5. Really? Still got a short there? What's going on here? 6CL8. 6CL8. D6, D1, and D9. And there's a little star next to it. Star indicates multi-section tube. Duh! Let me verify this again. 6CL8A. D6, a D9. Heater D, socket 6, D6 and D9. You know, when I see shorts and I press leakage and it does that, see grid emission reject. Oh, riding a short bus here. D6, D9. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? D9. D6. It almost seems unreasonable. I took it out into the sun and it says 6EH8 on it. Okay, this is a different tube. D6. Okay, take out pin 6. D6, D2, and D7. Okay, so take out 6. That got rid of our shorts. And then D7. D2. Well, okay, I had to wiggle it around in the socket. Let me go grab the back of this thing and see what the back calls, because the SAMs might not be right. Okay, here's the back. Oh, you would. Converter replaced with same type as original tube. I'm going to assume this is the right tube for the set, and it tests okay. It's a tad on the weak side, but it's okay. This tube tester reads a little low. Because if it was the wrong tube, if it was so vastly different as between the pin out of this tube and the one Sam's calls for is totally different. And I don't think that this one would work at all. It wouldn't even oscillate, which obviously it is in this set because it's tuning in channels. It's just the sensitivity is not there. It's dim, but keep in mind, we have not changed one capacitor in this. Not one. We had to reform the electrolytics, replace 3 missing tubes, and 1 tube in the IF that had a bad filament, an open filament. We have not done anything else to it. No electrolytics, no bumblebees, no black beauties, and that's not to say those shouldn't be done. They need to be done. So don't use me as an example for your excuse to not recap your TV. I'm not going to be using this. I'm just resurrecting it for fun. This is not a prime specimen for... It won't get channel 6. The sensitivity's too bad. I think channel 6 is still in the air. Ooh, somebody need a bamboo bance. Bamboo blance. Not bad. Not bad at all. You don't know if the distortion in it is from the adjustments in the B&K Analyst, and this half blanking thing, that's because it's bright out here. But yeah, we could watch some TV, man. Some HSN or some Jerry Springer show. Boy, let's get that IQ cranked up. If you're not familiar with how this piece of equipment here works, you know, this is kind of a really neat piece of equipment to work on this vintage of set. This is an ultraviolet CRT, and it projects this slide onto that flying spot scanner tube. See, if I pull this, and they came with a bunch of slides. I have a whole bunch of slides for this thing. It came with a whole bunch of different slides that you could put in there. I mean, you could even make a custom slide, you know, with your company logo on it and do cool things. Actually, if you listen, buried way in the noise is channel 6. It's buried way in the noise.
News at 7 p.m. on KDOC TV.
If you live in LA County and have yet to get vaccinated for COVID, you may have to wait even longer. Amid a vaccine shortage, the county now prioritizing second doses for those who have already gotten their first. So when will more vaccine arrive? Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jory Rand. Welcome to Eyewitness News on KDOC TV, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. Right now, there just aren't enough doses to go around. There are long lines, and the wait will get even longer. Eyewitness News reporter Leticia Juarez explains why from
think
Northridge.
of the children.
There is more capacity at Los Angeles County's 5 vaccination super sites than there are vaccines to go around. Starting next Tuesday, the county will shift its priorities from first dose vaccinations to those people in need of a second dose.
We're shifting to the second dose because once you reach 21 days after receiving the first one, that's when the CDC recommends that you receive the second one for the Pfizer vaccine.
The state is struggling to acquire more doses to inoculate Californians who want one.
All right.
For now, frontline healthcare workers, those living in retirement homes.
Let's hear about some dead bodies or something. Oh, wait, maybe we are. They just haven't dialed them in yet. So that's out of the converter box. Antenna on the roof, digital to analog converter box. And you can see the pictures fairly noisy. There's definitely a lack of gain in the front end. It's something in the tuner, something probably more likely in the tuner than the IF. There's a bit of instability in the set. But overall, not too bad for changing no parts. Why do I use the news? Because anything else copyright will nail. Content ID will nail. It doesn't matter if it's a really bad black and white picture like this. YouTube Content ID will nail it, and depending on how it's listed, the video might get taken down. So
Once vaccines are fully available, sites like this one at Cal State Northridge can vaccinate up to 4,000 people daily. Reporting in Northridge, Leticia Juarez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Leticia, thank you. Meantime, it's the second weekend restaurants are able to provide outdoor dining, and with new cases and hospitalizations at their lowest level in months and still dropping, will indoor dining be returning as well?
You know, I think we're a ways away from indoor dining. Let's just face it. The virus is really easily transmitted.
Vintage television set. That YouTube operated compliant America wearing a mask. Having trouble communicating and my brain is starved with oxygen, but I'm a compliant American and I'm compliant because I believe in CDC and World Health Organization guidelines. And no, I'm not socially infected at all.
Event. Health officials are concerned people will hold Super Bowl parties at home with people from outside their households. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell has more on this latest warning.
Super Bowl Sunday is usually a popular day for parties, but this year officials are urging people not to hold.
I like the way she says, "I'm Amy Powell." I can't do it. I'm Amy Powell. The way she rolls her last name, just listen.
A lot of customers, but this year those businesses are not allowed to turn on televisions or screens. Health officials tightening restrictions to help prevent gatherings that could trigger a spike in COVID-19 cases. The number of virus cases soared to devastating levels during the holiday season. LA residents are being advised not to host or attend Super Bowl parties or any gathering with people outside of their households. We spoke with several people about their Super Bowl plans.
We're going to watch the Super Bowl at the apartment and order some pizza and enjoy the Super Bowl.
We're just going to stay at home, watch from our apartment, play it safe this year, and there's really not much else we can do.
We've got a whole plan of doing Taco Day.
Ooh, so compliant.
We're having the kids help us cook, so we're trying to stay in and be safe.
We think both situations are not safe. Gatherings
be
at other
safe,
people's
be well,
homes
stay
and gatherings
safe.
within restaurants where people may, again, people, particularly in celebrating an event like the Super Bowl, there may be people then that just even not necessarily staying.
Anyway, I was thinking about displaying some part of the Super Bowl on this for the ending of this video, but you notice the crackling and that's getting less as it runs. Oh boy. Nothing but the best.
In Studio City, Amy Powell, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Amy, thank you. In our nation's capital, President Biden has maintained he would prefer Republicans be involved in the process of getting Americans more help during the pandemic.
Sure he would. Anyway, but NFL stuff is the strictest copyright. Anything NFL, anything, let me get down on my knees here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's listen to your every word.
In a lengthy negotiation.
Yes, sir. I am
compromising on a bill that's up to the crisis.
I'm at your service, sir.
Congress have passed a budget resolution setting up the ability for Democrats to pass the president's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package without the threat of a filibuster from Republicans.
Anyway, where was I? You know, I don't watch TV, so when I have this crap on, I kind of lose it. I honestly don't watch TV.
As well as $1,400 in direct payments to many Americans. The president making it clear the amount of those checks is non-negotiable.
I'm not cutting the size of the checks. They're going to be $1,400, period.
Friday's bleak jobs report underscoring the importance of getting a relief package passed. Nearly 18 million Americans are now claiming some form of unemployment, and more than 50 million people, including 1 in 4 children, are going hungry. The White House with a new effort.
Anyway, I'm very impressed with this TV. I mean, the signal to noise ratio is horrible, but everything, the deflection looks really good. I mean, it's centered, it's not stretched, it's not distorted, it looks good.
due to his, quote, erratic behavior.
What value is giving him an intelligence briefing? What impact does he have at all, other than the fact he might slip and say something?
What
The
value
president has
is
the
giving
authority
you
to
an
deny
intelligence
access
briefing?
to anyone he chooses, but stopped short of announcing he had decided to prevent Trump from receiving those briefings. Faith Abube, ABC News,
Faith
Washington.
Abube?
Time to get a first check of our forecast. Danny Romero joining us on this Saturday evening with some warm temperatures, Danny.
Yeah, really nice day today over Southern California. Coming to an end now. We get a gorgeous shot down in Malibu. Our sunset settling in, and check out things on the coast there. 57 degrees in Malibu at the moment. How about the inland spots we go? We find there a little chilly, but still very nice after a warm day in Van Nuys. Down to 67 right now, and the temps all over the Southland are cool on the coast. 50s for San Clemente and Oxnard at 55. Inland spots are just barely in the 60s as we see 65.
I'm going to get my new phone and we'll do the money shot.
68 right now, but those low 60s
Something
running in Pasadena and
something with good
60 Covina
sensitivity.
at 64 with the coastal numbers.
Let me grab it.
Seal Beach.
I've had
Orange
enough.
County, you're looking pretty good. Fullerton is 62 right now. And
Acetate, plant-based material that's not only extremely durable, but also quite flexible.
So, man, the low light sensitivity of this thing is great. I know that's crappy, but I can't even see it. This is the digital converter box.
Warby Parker glasses come standard with custom-cut polycarbonate lenses that have been treated with scratch-resistant and anti-reflective coatings. Nice. Try 5 pairs for free at warbyparker.com.
Okay, here we go. Here's the money shot. You ready? Ooh, dusty tubes. Under eerie green mercury vapor light. Look at that. I have a final expense policy.
Payout of up to $30,000. There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do.
EverQuote plans now start at just 85 cents a day, with payouts of up to $30,000 for funeral and other final expenses. Your rate will never increase and your coverage can never be canceled. Our plans offer no medical exam, immediate approval, no waiting period, no hidden fees, and no paperwork. Call now for immediate approval.
I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 800-483-6982. That's 800-483-6982.
That's incredible how bright that is.
An intensifying search for 2 young brothers who went missing from their backyard almost 7 weeks ago. Now, with the reward for their whereabouts increasing, their adopted family is receiving threats from the public. ABC's Zori Shah has the latest.
The family of the adoptive father of the 2 California City brothers who vanished, speaking exclusively to ABC News.
Of course.
I just know that they were really good parents as far as I was concerned. We offered a reward out of our own pockets.
That reward for 4-year-old Oren and 3-year-old Orson increasing to $120,000, contributed by multiple parties. Authorities receiving more than 2,000 tips and using imaging devices at their adoptive parents, Trezell West and his wife Jacqueline's home, to search for the boys. But now the adoptive dad's family says they're targets, not from authorities, but from the public.
It is misguided to blame uncles and aunts and grandparents for children who are missing that we love and care about and are trying to find. Right now, there are people outside the home talking about where are the boys.
Police have not...
All right. Resurrected, sort of. Probably needs a tuner serviced. A bunch of capacitors changed. Wonder how close in we can get on this. Pretty cool. Okay, we got to do this.